Mujin. Okay, Mujin dropped a new video 2 hours ago. Oh my god. Documenting the unparalleled disaster of Mind's Eye, the GTA 6 competitor.
Grand Theft.
Crazy. Okay. I'm very curious about this. So let's watch this and then call it a night. I don't know if I should make this bigger or should just keep it at this size. What do you guys think? Okay. Definitely credit to Mujin for the video. He makes very, very interesting videos to watch, so hopefully this will be as interesting as the rest of them. And yeah, let's get to this. I'm very curious about what this is.
Auto 6 is one of the most long-awaited games of our generation.
For
the excitement
real.
surrounding it is indescribable, and it's very contagious.
I'm gonna be honest, I don't know if I'm ever gonna even like check out Grand Theft Auto 6 just because of how expensive. It's supposed to be like $100.
So much so that I believe it's caused some people to go clinically insane. Because why
better?
else would certain people say that Mind's Eye is a direct competitor to Grand Theft Auto 6? With some going as far as saying that Mind's Eye is the GTA 6 killer. Now,
That's
look, I don't know
crazy.
About you, but I think
What the fuck is Mind's Eye?
I've never a direct competitor to
I've never even heard of Mind's Eye, so I'm very curious about what the hell that is.
Silent Hill. Because how else would you explain this?
What the fuck is
One
that?
of the many man-made horrors beyond comprehension that we witnessed once
I don't
Mind's
like
Eye
that.
finally released in June of 2025. So how is
it's
it
already
that
out?
people had such high expectations for this game that they were crazy enough to even put it in the same category as GTA 6?
What the fuck is this? What the fuck is this? That's horrifying!
For this game that they were crazy enough to even put it in the same category as GTA 6. Well, part of the reason why was because the game director of the studio behind Mind's Eye was
This looks like a man who scams people.
the main producer on every single game made by Rockstar Games since 1999, with his most recent title being GTA 5. Not to mention that they raised tens of millions.
His recent game was GTA 5. I was so right about him being a man who scams people. Got it.
Dollars from investors, with one employee going as far as saying that this game actually cost over $500 million. So what the hell happened?
That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money.
69 players on Steam right now. Mind's Eye is officially the worst rated game on Metacritic for the year of 2025. A game giving Concord a run for its money. So what went wrong? Well,
everything,
this didn't
it appears,
happen overnight. This was a multi-year disaster. There were many red flags that were ignored by people, blinded by the hype, and we're gonna go through all of them from the beginning together.
Let's fucking go.
Get ready. Let's do this. Vampires are like ice cream. Everyone loves them.
Vampires are like ice cream was not where I thought this video was going. Okay, hopefully that's good.
As long as they don't look like this, which is why a team of developers set out to create the game Silver and Blood. Guys, sponsor aside,
Silver
okay,
and Blood?
this game's art style is
this is a
incredible.
fucking ad.
When I think of vampires, I think of a gothic, dark art style, and this game manages to capture this perfect,
It's a fucking ad.
both in its environments and its playable characters like the one you see right now. One thing it does uniquely is that its cutscenes rival professionally made anime. It's indistinguishable from something you'd find on Crunchyroll.
I'm so
this
mad.
should definitely
I'm
make
so
your
fucking
ADHD
mad.
brain focus on the story for once. And speaking of story, in between these
Oh, it's one of
cutscenes,
those
all
games.
with
I'm
their
out.
unique,
I'm out.
Many click the link in the
I'm
description
out.
or the pinned comment and download.
Fuck you,
Silver and Blood
Mujin, for getting me
today.
like sucked
Alright,
into
so
an
for you
ad.
to understand how Mind's Eye came to be, we have to talk about its origin story. It all started with a $150 million lawsuit by Leslie Benzies against Rockstar Games and its parent company, Take-Two. You see, Leslie is a veteran of Rockstar Games. He was there since 1999. His role was a producer, but obviously producer is a very vague term these days. Listing his achievements will probably help more. He was the guy
I'm a producer. I produce.
who single-handedly formed the team for Grand Theft Auto 3. And as a producer, he continued doing that for the next Grand Theft Autos and leading their entire production pipelines. I mean, when he first joined the company, it was still called DMA Design before changing its name to Rockstar Games. That's how long he's been at the company.
I haven't even heard that.
I'm sure you're aware that Rockstar Games is actually owned by Take-Two Interactive. But because of the very big success of their games, Rockstar Games does enjoy a big degree of independence. And it has its own
I haven't heard of
hierarchy.
Take-Two either.
Its main leaders are the Hauser brothers, so Sam and Dan Hauser, as well as Leslie, who's been with them since the beginning.
It took Eric Badur for me to truly understand what a producer can mean. A man crying and waiting for them to fucking end an episode because they won't fucking end and stop talking.
Since the days of DMA design.
Just like me, for real, for real.
2014, Leslie decided to take a sabbatical. Think of it like a really long vacation.
Sabbatical.
This one lasting 6 months.
Sabbatical is literally just a fancy word for a vacation. I'm not even joking.
He argued that during these 6 months, he didn't receive any of his owed royalties by Take-Two. And additionally, when he came back to the office after those 6 months, he was refused entry. Shortly afterwards, Rockstar Games released a...
Can you imagine? You take a fucking 6-month break because, like, you really need it or for whatever reason. Like, it's none of their goddamn business. And then when you go back to your job, they're like, no, you don't get to come in here. I would be so fucking pissed.
The statement thanking Leslie for his contributions and essentially saying goodbye. So less than a year later, he sued them. The lawsuit
fired him?
just how dirty the politics inside of Rockstar Games were.
That's
saying that he
so
was forced
fucked,
to take a
dude.
sabbatical, and that when he did, his own son, as well as many of his friends
That's
at
so
Rockstar
fucked.
Games, were very quickly fired afterwards. The lawsuit then specifies that Leslie believes this happened because the Hauser brothers, more specifically Sam Hauser, felt threatened that Leslie was trying to take over the company. Leslie, on the other hand, said that without him, GTA...
Wait, so they got rid of him because they thought that he was gonna try to take over? What a pathetic excuse!
GTA 3 would have never been a success because
What
what Sam
small
was doing
dick
was
energy is
mediocre.
that?
Take-Two countersued and called his actions bizarre and unwarranted. And back when this happened in 2016, it was a pretty big story because it gave us perspective, an inside scoop as to what happens inside the secretive Rockstar Games. But as this was all happening, Leslie wasted no time whatsoever. 12 months after presenting his lawsuit, he formed a new studio in Scotland as well as a studio in Los Angeles to build a game titled Everywhere. The team was
I mean, I don't really know a lot about this guy or the scenario or anything. That is really fucked for them to do. It is also possible that this guy is a complete and total, like, asshole and scum of the earth. It could go either way, but, like, even if someone's scum, you don't, like, force them to go on sabbatical and then fire them. Is that even legal? Is that legal?
initially comprised of 30 people, and they, just like Leslie, were in...
Sabbaticals are paid vacations, which I don't get why that has a specific term. Maybe it's like a forced paid vacation? Maybe that's what a sabbatical is? Because, like, vacations, you choose the time, but maybe sabbaticals is like your job's like, you need to take a break, bye, we'll pay you for it, come back.
Incredible veterans.
Anything's
of the
legal with
gaming
enough money.
industry, having
That is
worked on some very popular
true.
titles. The company didn't even have a name yet, but Leslie was already making some pretty big promises about what Everywhere is going to be, promising that it's going to be a massive open world where you can do virtually anything. Their website at the time was very simple. That's how it looked. It would just say Everywhere, and then would have 4 different sections. What, where, and who told you a bit more about the studio and their very vague vision. And of course, you had a career page.
It doesn't seem legal. Welcome to America.
One thing I didn't mention earlier is that Leslie Benzies was actually the director of GTA Online, GTA 5's multiplayer that has generated over $1 billion in revenue since the game's release. So him saying that he was going to make a game that's multiplayer, while saying things like, the vision is long-term with the capacity to develop and grow forever, as well as, our goal is to create a platform where players can be entertained and also entertain others while blurring the lines between reality and a simulated world, was definitely hyping things up to the maximum.
Add in 4 minutes and 50 seconds
with
on
the
Twitch.
announcement of him forming a studio. The studio didn't even have a name, and yet the expectations were astronomical, and why wouldn't they be? This was the ex-director of GTA Online and the guy who had formed the team for GTA 3. He was also unjustly fired from Rockstar Games, according to him, and was forming his own studio as a way to give a middle finger to his previous employers by making a more successful and next-generation game that will blow Grand Theft Auto out of the water. That was the narrative that game journalists were going with. The statements that he made flowed directly into that narrative, and people, the consumers, gladly ate that up. And bear in mind, this was all 8 years ago. Now, we wouldn't hear much about the game or the studio until 2020, when the pandemic was in full swing and every studio was beating their records of player count for their multiplayer game.
Do the cars have to be so fucking loud today? God damn it. Oh, my model just had a fucking stroke. I like looked behind because that's like the motorcycles are being so fucking loud. And my model tweaked. Holy shit, I'm so sorry. Oh my god. Okay, back to it.
games. Money was flowing into the industry like there was no tomorrow, and it was the perfect time to find eager investors because the excitement was simply too contagious. This was when Leslie was able to raise over 32 million pounds, in other words 45 million USD, for his studio.
Damn, that's a
which had
lot of
name
money.
now, Build a Rocket Boy. Yeah, I know, Build a Rocket Boy.
Bro, that's a terrible name. That name sucks.
Everywhere. I mean, seriously, who the hell's coming up with these names? In any case, they now had studios in Edinburgh, Budapest, and Los Angeles. So 3 different studios, which meant they were growing very fast. By
But were they
2020,
doing
this was their
anything?
key staff. And as you can see, it's a star-studded team. Personally, what drew my attention was the cinematic director who had worked on Red Dead Redemption 2 and GTA 5, or the lead programmer who worked on GTA 5. The talent was clearly there,
Wow.
but there was one big question on everyone's minds. When were we going to see like a single detail about what the hell Everywhere was?
Yeah.
Well, we finally got an answer to that question in
Oh.
the summer of 2022 during Gamescom, where they
I
would
haven't
release
even
this
heard of
1-minute,
this.
15-second teaser of what this game actually is. And to be honest, it only caused more confusion because what the hell is this? People were expecting something realistic, something that can rival Grand Theft Auto. But all we saw was like a discount Fortnite. To say that people were disappointed and confused is an understatement, but that was until we had reached the 50-second mark in the trailer. This is when, for the first time ever, Mind's Eye would be revealed. Watch.
What? That looked cool.
Whoa, where the hell did that come from? Was the first 50 seconds like a prank? Is this the real game? That's what people were hoping for. But instead, things got even more confusing. At the time, Leslie Benzies said that Everywhere was going to launch at the end of 2023, but that it was a completely separate title from Mind's Eye, confirming that they were working on not one, but two AAA games at the same time. Now, this is already crazy news for a new studio that had not released a single game yet. But don't worry, things got even more.
Sorry, I just got very distracted by the Street Fighter movie. Jason Momoa casts as Blanca, 50 Cent as Balrog. What? Also, I got something. One second, I'll be right back. Those motherfuckers didn't give me my drink. 50 Cent still alive? I have no idea. That fucker. He didn't give me my drink. Alright.
More confusing, because according to Leslie, you'd only be able to play Mind's Eye through Everywhere. You wouldn't be able to buy Mind's Eye on like the PlayStation Store or something.
Wait,
no,
what?
you'd have to go through Everywhere and get Mind's Eye from there. Yeah, you're not the only one who's confused here. Look, in a nutshell, the whole point of Everywhere is like a knockoff Fortnite Roblox. You have access to a deeply functional level editor where you can make your own experiences for other players to enjoy, and Mind's Eye just happens to be one of those experiences. So what they were saying is, imagine launching Roblox and one of the experiences happens to be Mind's Eye, which is a ridiculous thing to say, because what they were indirectly saying here...
That's insane. What? That's so crazy, my head hurts.
Is that Mind's Eye is just another experience that was going to be available in Everywhere, which meant that me and you, regular people, could potentially, in the level editor, create something as crazy as Mind's Eye with Everywhere's tools. You see what I'm saying?
No way.
But no need to panic. This is not a red flag. You know why? Because they opened a 4th studio in Montpellier, France. They kept expanding.
Just keep opening
even
studios,
further.
guys.
And as people waited until the end of 2023 for Everywhere to finally
That's the
launch,
solution.
they were only met with yet another trailer. On September 2023,
More
another
studios.
trailer dropped about Everywhere, detailing the fact that
That's
yes,
the
you can make
solution.
levels, you can play against players or with them, build a bunch of different experiences, showing off the level editor, etc., etc. But as you can see from the dislike ratio, people just didn't really care about this discount Fortnite anymore. The most replayed part in this entire 1-minute 42-second trailer is right here, at the 1-minute 19-second mark. You're probably wondering why. Well, let's check it out. Oh,
What?
that's it.
What the fuck?
Literally 1 second of Mind's Eye gameplay. In other words, people could not give less of a shit about what Everywhere was. And you can see this sentiment reflected in the comments. Like this one saying, 119 is the only thing I'm interested in from a former GTA producer. A Fortnite knockoff just won't cut it.
Yeah,
People
what
were
is the-
starting to get
What
very
was
skeptical.
the whole plan? That's what I'm wondering. Like, what was the whole plan behind this? Because the Everywhere, everything, the base game doesn't look interesting at all. Like, I would have zero interest in playing it, but the Mind's Eye actually looks good. So what the fuck was the game plan here?
About the scope that was being advertised by this company. They just didn't know what it was meant to be, and every time Leslie opened his mouth to explain, people were left with even more questions. And as you guessed it, because we're in 2025 now, Everywhere didn't end up releasing at the end of 2023. They just went radio silent and didn't update anyone on anything. And the next piece of news we'd get from the studio was that they were going to have layoffs on the 19th of February, 2024. Not a good sign.
We haven't released
anything.
We're still
this
firing
article
people.
revealing to me for the first time that they also had offices in Hungary. So far, we've heard of a studio in the United States.
Jesus Christ! They got more studios? Bro, this feels like a whole ass fucking, like, scam. What is happening?
In Scotland, in Belgium, in Hungary, and in France. That's 5 in total. And yet, Everywhere had, well, gone nowhere, and we didn't even know if Mind's Eye was going to release. Until the end of 2024, when the studio behind the Hitman games, IO Interactive, announced to the world that they would be publishing the game Mind.
I feel like Red Web had a joke very similar to this before. Oh, I didn't watch a lot of Red Web, so...
Eye. What followed a few months afterwards on February 2025 was 2 different trailers, one cinematic trailer and one official gameplay trailer for Mind's Eye. But here's the thing, when it came to gameplay trailers like for GTA or other blockbuster games, they would be detailed and long videos explaining mechanics with a voiceover and really showing you the depth of the game. But this felt more like a cinematic trailer, or more like a teaser, really. It only showed you very specifically selected clips with a few seconds of gameplay
car driving
in each of
game.
them. At this point, Builder
Is
Rocket
GTA the
Boy's
only
trademark
option?
was showing you something that leaves you with more questions, but not in a good way, and it was pretty much what happened here too. They also released a story trailer, which was mostly just a cinematic trailer yet again. I mean, it was just cutscenes, no gameplay whatsoever. But hey, the game had finally gotten a release date, June 10th, 2025. Or as we know it, Judgment Day.
June 10th? Oh, so this came out this month. Like, a game where I can drive cars. Like a racing game, a driving game, something like that. Because, like, I grew up with my Xbox, and I would play Need for Speed Underground. I fucking love that game, which I could theoretically play that game. I still have that Xbox somewhere in a box in the game, which if that's something people are interested, I could always do that for a stream. I could always play Need for Speed Underground if that's something you guys want to see.
But what about Everywhere? Well, barely 2 weeks before Mind's Eye's release, on the 29th of May 2025, we'd finally get some sort of confirmation that Everywhere was pretty much dead in the water. Build a Rocket Boy had confirmed to the Video Game Chronicle that the entire creation suite, the entire level editor of Everywhere, was going to ship inside of Mind's Eye. In other words, Mind's Eye was meant to be a part of Everywhere, but now Everywhere is a part of Mind's Eye. Feels like we're in some Doctor Strange movie, but this was just an unofficial way of saying, hey,
Wait, my head hurts. This is making my head hurt. So it was supposed to be a game inside of a game, but they ended up not wanting to do that. So the game inside of the game became the game that the other game was inside of. What?
guys, Everywhere's dead. We're now focusing all of our resources on Mind's Eye. This was a huge red flag, but people were still hopeful, thinking, okay, well, now that you're focusing on one thing, I'm sure you're gonna make it worthwhile, right? Well, hey, game journalists sure pushed that narrative. I mean, look at what PC Gamer said when the official story trailer came out. This was the title of their article. The new game from former Grand Theft Auto producer Leslie Benzies is coming in June, and boy, it sure looks like a Rockstar game. We're all about this ridiculous title.
Boy, it sure looks like a Rockstar game. It's all part of the plan. This is like if the Joker made a fucking video game, dude. The amount of chaos that has happened in like the 14 minutes of this video we've watched, this has got like Joker energy all over it.
From Games Radar saying former GTA 5 lead properly.
The Joker's just like, I have a plan, trust me. There's a plan behind everything. Propane GTA game from King of the Hill? Wait, what? Huh. That's how it went.
He shows off his new city-sized action game coming this summer, and yep, It looks like Cyberpunk 2077 meets GTA. Like, bro, shut the fuck up, man.
I haven't watched
gaming
King of the
journalists
Hill.
are a plague. The game was already hyped beyond belief, and this was only confirming that hype. I mean, this is a French video game website calling Mind's Eye the next rival of GTA 6. Leslie talked about these comparisons 8 days before Mind's Eye released.
That's why I never heard of it. That's why it's the next rival of GTA 6. That is totally why I've never heard of it.
And he downplayed these Grand Theft Auto 6 comparisons, hyping the game even further by saying, as an independent studio, we have the freedom to break ground in experimental new ways, and the challenge is balancing innovation with familiarity. Too much new risks alienating fans, too much same feels stale. It's about nailing what makes your game's world feel alive and urgent. Mind's Eye is about constant...
So everything that Expedition 33 is, do new and experimental things on an old thing and put a lot of heart and soul into it and make a fucking masterpiece like Expedition 33, mayhaps. They did not do that. I'm just going on a limb and saying they did not do that.
Sequence and connection. It's cinematic, reactive, and meant to feel like a world you're not just playing in, but able to create in too. So guys, this is not just another Grand Theft Auto knockoff. This is like the Elder Scrolls Skyrim with the creation engine, but on steroids. Guys, this game's gonna be played in 2040. You just watch, okay? But here's the thing. One day,
more like 20 to 40 minutes.
Here, literally one day after that interview with Leslie came out, and 7 days before the game's release.
They spent all the money opening studios and not in marketing or in game design, apparently. Jesus Christ.
The chief legal officer and the chief financial officer of Build a Rocket Boy left the company. I mean, at that point, if you had actually pre-ordered this game, then I wish that Total Biscuit was still alive so that he could slap you across the face. But if you had pre-ordered and seen this article and hadn't refunded at this point, then you deserve to lose your money, because what the hell is this? 2 executives departing before the studio releases in 1 week is an insanely major red flag. And
that's crazy.
They were onto something. Others were also onto something too.
They were jumping
like
out of the sinking ship before
saying Mind's Eye's marketing is
it went below the water,
mess, arguing that the game was about to release and we still hadn't gotten a proper gameplay trailer yet. We didn't even know what the hell this game is, other than a few cinematics and very carefully timed clips of some tiny aspects of gameplay. Additionally, this game hadn't even supplied anyone with review copies. As this comment here points out, even Gollum gave review copies. Gollum! The worst game of 2023.
What the fuck is that? Wait. What the fuck is that? What the fuck was that thing?
Gollum, the worst.
What is this? Is that what he looked like in the game? Holy shit! I haven't. Oh my god. Holy fucking shit. Bruh, Golem already looked like he did cocaine, and this is Golem on Fent.
First game of 2023. But guys, don't worry, okay? This was a previous producer of the Grand Theft Auto series. This was going to be a rival to GTA 6. This was him giving a middle finger to Rockstar Games. Come on, this has to work, right? Well,
oh my
this
god.
day came by, and to say it was catastrophic is an understatement. PC Gamer, who was hyping up this game like there was no tomorrow, released this article shortly after its release, saying,
I've played 2 hours of Mind's Eye, and it's pretty bad so far. I'm afraid.
I've played 2 hours of Mind's Eye, and it's pretty bad so far, I'm afraid. The Guardian released their review, saying, a dystopian future that plays like it's from 2012, giving it a 2 out of 5.
No.
And guys, when people say this game is glitchy, they are not exaggerating one bit. There are compilations over 10 minutes long that are like part 1, part 2, part 3. Simply because there are just that many glitches.
Holy shit.
Dude, what the hell is this game? Bro, look at this. 7 years for this. 7 years for this. Oh my god, dude. This post right here says, this generation's Assassin's Creed Unity, brothers and sisters, look at it in all its glory. I'm telling you, man, this is a competitor to Silent Hill, not Grand Theft Auto. This is
How much
horrendous.
does this game cost? This looks like it would be so much fun to play just for the for this.
Some people tested out the level editor to see if they could swim in the water when they got close, and yeah, apparently you can, just like Jesus would. And the horror game continues.
Just like Jesus would. Oh my god, oh fucking good. My god. Holy shit. What the fuck am I looking at? I. What?
Continues, guys, I don't even want to delve into how this is even possible. This person's on a stretcher while standing up. Again, I don't know why this is such a common glitch. This doesn't make any sense to me. Wow, this is the main character, by the way. This is the main
Holy
character in the
shit.
cutscene, by the way. Yeah, I mean, this is nightmare fuel at this point. I don't know how IO Interactive agreed to publish this. I don't know how
Oh
PlayStation
my-
didn't see
Oh my god. Okay, guys, I apparently we're still doing horror videos. Good god.
the red flags, but there we were, horrors beyond our comprehension. A day after this catastrophe had released, Mind's Eye said, our engineering team are working around the clock while promising a performance update. Because guys, guess what? It wasn't just funny glitches. This game was crashing and stuttering on some of the most high-end PCs imaginable. It was a mess in terms of optimization too. And just to be clear, the optimization issues also stretched to consoles. The game launched with a mostly negative review on Steam, and it still is, at only 37% of the reviews being positive. Bear in mind, this game also had the gall to sell you a deluxe edition containing a bunch of skins and a premium pass containing extra missions and challenges Q3 2025, Q4 2025, and Q1 2026. Yeah, that's totally happening. The reviews weren't talking about just the stuttering and the glitches. This game was very disappointing in practically—
Why does it say 7.0 out of 10? Who snorted cocaine and did that rating?
every category, including the story. The problem here was that people were concerned with the story's total length, being at 20 hours. Leslie addressed these concerns by saying that this is intentional to ensure players can finish the game in an era of distractions. Probably the worst explanation you could give.
This
Leslie
game wishes it could pull a No Man's Sky. I never even played that game. Maybe I'll give it a try at some point. Oh my god. This is so sad. This is just so sad. Like, how can you have the fucking confidence to just throw out a game like this, charge 50, 60 plus bucks for it, and be like, yeah, this is good enough to put out? Like, I complete stuff and it still doesn't feel like enough. Like, when it comes to like artwork that I draw, I'll put hours, so much time into it and all that, and complete it, and I still don't want to fucking put it out there, you know? And these people have an incomplete thing that is obviously broken. Like, anyone with 2 eyes or 2 ears could find out that it's broken, and they're still like, yeah, let's push it out there. I miss the era of games that came completed. The reason you feel that way is because you have shame. These people didn't. Fucking true. Also, just the audacity of multiple game studios publishing incomplete or unoptimized shit is it's aggravating. It is so fucking aggravating. People should not be able to sell you an incomplete product. I feel like, one, that is 100% false advertising. You are not acquiring what you purchase. And I feel like that should be... I feel like there has to be some sort of legal ramification. But because they're like, well, we'll finish it later. Like, what if you fucking bought a car, okay? What if you bought a goddamn car and it had some functionality like the lane detection that you bought with the car, but it was constantly breaking? They're like, don't worry, we'll update it in a couple of months and then it'll work fine. They're saying we don't own games now too. That is fucking bullshit. That is fucking bullshit. I know there's the whole stop killing games thing that's going on right now, which I wish I could sign, but I don't live in Europe, so I can't do anything about it there. If anyone here like lives in Europe or knows anyone that lives in Europe, I'd definitely say give them the information on stop killing games, which is like making it so that video game companies can't be like pulling the shit that they have been. They have to have end of life like planned out, and they can't just do like this shitty stuff that they've been doing recently. I'd look into it. I'm not really good at explaining it, but it's definitely something that if Europe does it, could help us here in America. Just like how Europe was like, hey, Apple, fucking stop with your bullshit lightning cables. You're going to USB-C. And because they did that, it forced them to go to USB-C. And then it changed in America, because what's the point in selling 2 different like types of phones for 2 different countries to have 2 different cables when you could just sell the same fucking phone with the same charging cable? I hate the direction the world is going towards, the whole subscription service. Like, if I don't own shit, what's the point? I have a habit. Sorry, I'm gonna go on a tangent here, middle of the video. I have a habit of like with movies, because I don't trust streaming services or anything like that where you can like buy it digitally. I don't fucking trust it. I wouldn't trust it ever, especially with what happened with Funimation, where once they shut down, all the people that bought that stuff no longer had access to the very things I bought. So I intentionally go out of my way whenever I like a TV show or a movie. Like I really like it. It appeals to me. I just heard knocking at my door and I'm not gonna go to it. If I like it, it appeals to me, I'll go out of my way to buy it and have it physically, because they can't fucking take it away from me if I have it physically. Let's keep going. It's almost
insisting this story
we've got
is
like
going to be
8 minutes
amazing
left.
until people actually played it and realized this is one of the worst stories they could have ever played in their lives. Not to mention that the ending was one of the worst things I've ever seen. Look at this. Look at this. It literally ends like this. He just jumps in the portal. That's it. That's it. The game's over. Like, that's, you get no other context. You get no other explanation. Deal with it, buddy. Hope you enjoyed the game.
The look on his face.
You know
oh my
what's
god.
funny in all this? A couple weeks before the game's release, the co-CEO of Build a Rocket Boy, not Leslie, someone else, said this in the Discord server for Mind's Eye. A fan asked, "Do you think that all the people who reacted negatively to Mind's Eye were financed by someone?" To which he replied with, 100%. Doesn't take
What?
much to guess who. Indirectly implying that Rockstar Games or Take-Two was...
What? You're gonna have a shitty broken ass game and say, yeah, people are paid to dislike it. What? Oh god, how far up your own ass are you? Holy shit. What?
paying people to react negatively to this game. Now, what's really funny and embarrassing is that barely a day before the game had released, the publisher of Mind's Eye, IO Interactive, said that they don't believe negative comments were being paid for. The head of IO Interactive specifically said, "I don't believe that. I don't believe that. I just think the game should speak for itself on June
Oh
the
my
10th."
god.
And boy, did it speak for itself. Kotaku made the review and said, "Mind's Eye is an incredibly boring and confusing mess." Yep, it spoke for itself, all right. To me, what's even funnier is the fact that they used up all their marketing budget on streamers. Yes, they paid people to play this live on Twitch, and even those streamers couldn't keep it together because of how bad the game was. With this streamer right here, Dark Viper AU, literally laughing his ass off after the game had crashed for like the 10th time on stream. Like, he couldn't handle it anymore. This right here is a...
Okay, that's... When the people you pay to play your game can't even keep their shit together, you know something's garbage.
another sponsored streamer, and this happened live. Watch.
Outrageous cyber infiltrations, even hacked the CIA.
We got him back!
It leaves no footprint, ever. Other than the occasion...
Did the car just change?
Sounds like a true artist.
I just find it so ironic that Extra Emily, out of all people, had a glitch related to her driving. This happened live.
Wait.
Outrageous
Okay, it's
cyber
orange right now, right? Okay.
We got him back!
Oh, it's got dirt on it. And then the dirt gets knocked off. And then it's
I
stuck
just
and
find it
just
so
on fire.
ironic
Oh
that
my
Extra
god.
Emily, out of all people, had a glitch related to her driving. I mean, genuinely, life is truly the master of irony.
Oh my
Around a
god.
week after its release, Mind's Eye finally released a performance
crazy.
patch, and very little was actually improved. It was still glitchy as hell. Frame drops were consistent both on PC and console, and
Oh wait, it is $60. Holy shit.
overall, it was still unplayable by every metric.
Oh my god.
At its peak on Steam, it had 3,302 players, and right now it's at 52. 52 at the end of June. And what's even
Oh my
crazier
god.
is Sony pulling out an
Oh my
extremely rare
god.
maneuver that they've only used once for Cyberpunk 2077's disastrous launch, which is actually
52.
refund people who bought the game on the PlayStation Store. Indirectly telling us that to them, even in their eyes, this game is
52
unacceptable.
soldiers holding down the fort. The question is, are those 52 people enjoying the game? Or are they in it for the fucking lols? Are they in it to find all the glitches that they can? I'm curious about the mentality of those 52 people.
Xbox, on the other hand, wasn't so generous and wasn't refunding anything if you had launched the game at least once. This entire saga
Well,
kind of
fuck you
came
too,
to its conclusion
Xbox!
on June 23rd, 2025, when Build a Rocket Boy, the studio behind Mind's Eye and the Cancelled Everywhere, began the process to conduct a mass layoff. And since then, the layoffs have officially taken place. They released a statement. Here's what they had to say. We can confirm that we have had to make the painful decision to notify our hardworking team of some internal changes at Build a Rocket Boy. While
We
are
fucked
working
up,
to
so we're
reassign
going to
roles for
punish
as
the
many of
people
those
that we
impacted by these
probably didn't give
changes
the
as
proper tools
possible,
to do this.
sadly, we are initiating a formal consultation process that may result in redundancies. The decision has not been made lightly, and we are committed to handling this process with transparency, fairness, and respect for all
This
employees.
is insane,
we will
dude.
provide further details to the team over the coming weeks. The launch of Mind's Eye has been a significant milestone for Build a Rocket Boy. But we know that we still have a lot more to do to grow our community in the coming years. The challenges we faced have only strengthened our resolve, and while we are deeply saddened by today's decision and thankful to our incredible team, this shift allows us to focus on delivering ongoing updates and performance optimization for Mind's Eye, while also ensuring the long-term success of Build a Rocket Boy's future ambitions. So look, according to IGN, in the UK, when you start the process for a mass layoff, it's usually when an employer is looking to cut 100 or more jobs. They have 300 UK employees and around 200 abroad in their other studios. So it's safe to say that a huge chunk is getting fired. It's really interesting to me, though, that in
Wow.
their statement, they're saying that there's going to be a long-term success of Build a
Wait,
Rocket
wait,
Boy.
wait.
Meaning-
They're getting fired from which studio? All of them? Are they firing different people from different studios, or are they just shutting down specific studios?
that the studio isn't closing after this disaster. But personally, I'd keep an eye out in the coming months because anything can happen, and I really don't see the studio sticking around
This
for
is
any
insane,
longer. This
dude.
was their big chance, and they unfortunately completely blew it.
Order
Their
66
Glassdoor
is studio
page isn't doing
layoff.
very well, okay? Employees are pissed, rating it at 2.3
Execute Order 66. Lay them off. 30% would recommend to a friend.
out of 5. 30% of them would recommend to a
Oh
friend.
my God.
And 26% approve of the CEO, who is Leslie Benzies. One
Oh
of those
no.
employees said, $500 million invested into this mess. No wonder our biggest backer all but pulled out when they finally saw what was actually getting produced. So now we really don't know just how much this cost. We know that
Holy
over $45
shit.
million were invested into it by
Uh-oh.
private investors. But then again, this game was developed over the course of like 8 years. Is this truly another Concord? I mean, Concord was 400 million. This is 500? That's even worse. And thanks to thegamebusiness.com, we know exactly just how bad of a disaster Mind's Eye truly was. When it released, it had around 250,000 players, with a majority, around 150,000, on PlayStation.
Oh.
Now that PlayStation has opened refunds, these 150,000 can be significantly less. And the players on PC are only at 35,000, with only 3,000 actually launching the game, so you can bet many of them refunded. Additionally, okay, and this wasn't really advertised until the game came out, the whole level editor that was advertised was only available on PC and not on console. This was even more salt in the wound, okay? This was just such a disaster. Look, of course
my
I feel bad
God.
for the employees, but I can't help but feel especially bad for the lead actor. He's actually very talented and was previously in the game Mafia 3. Unfortunately,
Oh.
that game also didn't get the best reception, and now he's part
haven't
of
s-
Mind's
I haven't
Eye.
played the
He
Mafia
was
games
interviewed by
either.
the YouTube channel Check It TV after the game had released, and while the interview is like over 21 minutes and part 2 is over 44 minutes, I'm just going to show you a snippet that was posted on TikTok so that you can see what he had to say. Watch.
You released something that seemed to not be ready in that way. It's had a complicated reception. I'm proud of the people that I worked with.
I feel so sorry for actors who put like all of their like heart and soul into a role, and then the people making the game just fucking fumble and do a terrible job. That has
It's
got
a
to be
shame
awful.
that the
Because
gameplay in particular has received
people
such negative.
always will shift the blame to the visible people. So he might get shit on for being in a terrible game even though he had nothing to do with it. And that's really sad to me.
Negative reception. In terms of bugs, as a gamer myself, I completely understand the frustration. There's a shared frustration in like, why would you as a company release something that seemed to not be ready in that way? If you put the bugs aside, like whether or not people are into it, that's between them and them, right?
If by any chance there's a casting director watching this video, guys, please hire him. Can we please just put him in a good game? Please. Thank you. Look, whether you can see this or not, we're already in a gaming depression. Layoffs in the industry have been rampant, the golden days of the pandemic are gone, and developers have to accept that. Ambition is good to have, but unrealistic scopes will kill your entire studio.
Yeah.
Here's hoping that this stops, but I'm not gonna lie, I am kind of tempted to play this game just to see the crazy glitches I'll find. In the end though, if you're gonna take
It just
anything
fucking
from this
vanished.
video, stop pre-ordering games. And
Yeah,
thank you
for
so
real.
much for watching until the end. I love you
Don't
so
pre-order
much. The sponsor really wanted me to talk about the game at the end of the video as well. So I'm about to do that. But before I do, I can't leave you without a good old mwah. And now, the ad. All right, thank you so much for watching the video. As a reminder,
Yeah, no ad. No ad. That's crazy. Before play, mind's eye. After play, my eyes! That's just, oh my god. I didn't even know it was a thing. And that crashed and burned so hard. Okay, let's give him a like. If you guys haven't seen Mujin stuff, I'd definitely recommend that channel. He does a really good job at breaking down situations that happen. Between even like VTuber drama, voice acting drama, just like a bunch of stuff. He does a really good job at explaining it. It's fucking amazing channel. That's insane. The biggest game I've never heard of that absolutely fucking crashed and burned. Okay, if anyone's still here, I just have to tell you guys, the knocking on my door earlier was apparently the DoorDash driver bringing me my drink that they forgot. So, yeah, that's kind of funny. Alright, anyways, bye.